Dianna Russini's on with us here. She's the senior NFL insider for The Athletic. Her podcast with Chase Daniel is Scoop City. I just read a lovely article about Scoop City that I don't know whether it's a delight or a surprise to her or not, but the article was basically, Dianna, about how your podcast is something that is luring women at a disproportionate rate. Did you read this story?
I did. Before we get into leaning into the small, tiny little success of my podcast, I think it's important to just let you guys know I love coming on this show. I know we were just talking about a really serious topic, and I'm with you, Dan. I was listening to you closely, sort of just talk about the state of all of our safety. And in that moment, it just it reminded me. I know it's a basic, simple statement, but it's why I freaking love sports, and it's why I love this show, because we got to talk about the real stuff in life, but it's why I stayed up late and watched that probably one of the worst NFL games I've ever witnessed. Just knowing that this doesn't matter, football does not matter, but it's so cool that we get to talk about it. So I'm glad that you brought it up. But back to the Scoop City stuff, women are listening, and I think that's really cool for the sport. I think you've listened to the podcast before. We definitely talk about real football. This isn't a light football show, but I think we approach it with a lightness, and I hope that's what some of the people that are tuning in are enjoying about what we're doing, because we're all over the big stories and we have intel, but I'm trying to have a conversation with Chase Daniel, my co-host, that is exactly the way it sounds when he FaceTimes me at 5 a.m. almost every day. But did you expect it? Did you have an idea that you would lure a demographic simply by being you? I don't know people. I don't know if people are tuning in because I'm on the show. I just think there's more female football fans. I think women are learning the sport at a faster rate. Even just guys, I'm sure you've seen it too, on TikTok and even Instagram on Reels. There's tons of women just explaining football fundamentals for women that are interested. And I love to look at the comments to see if there's just barbarians just making fun of these women, introducing the sport to those that have never really gotten to learn it over the years. And it's all these women in the comment section thanking these TikTok ladies that are out there teaching football. So look, I think it's an untapped market, and it's going to be a market that's going to continue to grow. And look, maybe Taylor Swift had a big influence on this. Maybe she sort of got a lot of the female audience to pay attention to it. And then while watching her, they were like, wait, this is actually really fun. This is a great sport. So I'm hoping to continue with it and share just some of the stories that I've had along the way as a woman covering football. But as you guys know, and we talk about on the show all the time, being married and having kids and having a life outside of my actual job, I hope that's some of the reason why women feel like they can relate.
You have a great husband, a patient husband. How does he feel about the 5 a.m. daily FaceTime call from Chase Daniel?
Yeah, not a fan.
Right.
Not a fan of those early morning calls, especially because we're getting the kids ready to go. But outside of Chase, I also have other conversations in the morning with people in the league, because that's always the best time to grab people. Like, I spoke with someone with the Dolphins early this morning, despite that awful performance, to just try to get an idea of what the hell happened. And you usually can get people driving in between 5 and 6 a.m. Eastern. I talked to somebody out in LA the other day. I think it was 3:30 their time, and they just answered like, "Hey, what's up?" I'm like, "What? Like, why are you up?" But we know how some people work, and especially coaches this time of year, they're working all around the clock. So yeah, I think I would like to cut down on the Chase phone calls, but it's probably really good for the show.
I think it's also interesting, Dianna, as you come in here, what I objected to that Billy said earlier in the show is that the Dolphins didn't look like they cared. And it is unsurprising to me in any way that Chase Daniel, a quarterback, would be so competitive and want to be good at something so much that he's probably the one who wants to do those 5 a.m. phone calls, because he's a crazy competitive quarterback. Doesn't mean you don't want to do them, but he wants to be good at this. He doesn't want it to be bad.
He's learning. Exactly. And look, how many people have we been around who aren't smart enough to go, let me tap into those who've done this? Like, I'm a a woman in sports, getting older stinks. But the thing that I love about it is the experience. So there's so many things, so many mistakes that I've made along the way covering the NFL that Chase likes to learn about and tap into, whether it's giving an opinion, giving a hot take, even just his cadence on a show with a lot of really opinionated, loud people, ways to just be a better listen. And I'm not saying I'm some expert. I've just been around so many good people, especially my years at ESPN, being around you guys, knowing what works and what I think fans and the audience wants to hear. So a lot of the conversation is definitely football. And I tap into his knowledge and his experience to help, even just to help me with phone calls I need to make. Like, hey, you should listen, you should call this person. Like, this should be interesting. They're definitely going to probably make a change there. I remember in my years, whatever it is. But a lot of it is really just trying to sharpen our skills to just be better at this, because it's hard.
Dianna, how's Chase's arm feeling? Because it's a little rough down here.
What's
right
he
now
doing Sunday around 1-ish, and can we get him to New England?
It's a great question. We have a Scoop City group chat, and it comes up a lot of, like, look, I don't want to lose Chase at all. I don't want to go back.
On.
I can't. Call Ryan Tannehill. Like, just go call him. He lives down there. He's in the Bahamas flying planes. Like, just tell him, give him the Jay Cutler deal, give him 10 mil, call it a day, and see if you can take advantage of an offense where you invested so much in the skill players. And we see a performance like we did last night, which I don't even really know what that was. In fact, the person I spoke with this morning, Miami, I asked that question as naive as that sounds, which is, what was that? What happened? Where did it go off the rails? And look, there's a lot of different reasons, but this is not the Miami team that we were ready to see this year. And I get the Tua element to this, but this has to be better. And another part to this, and I heard you guys talking about backup quarterbacks, because I've screamed and shouted about this as well for years, of, let's invest in the backup quarterback. How many times do we have to see it? How many times do we see the Vikings have success with Josh Dobbs, and the Cleveland Browns have success with Joe Flacco? Now the Colts are maybe taking advantage of Joe Flacco. I had a head coach say this to me, and he kind of put me in my place a bit on it, because his team was in need of a backup quarterback at some point. And he said, who do you think is out there? Like, I understand everybody wants these phenomenal, productive backup quarterbacks who could just step in and be elite. Let me know where they are, and I'll sign. Because there's not some island of backups just hanging out, able to run an offense. There's not that many good guys. There's not. And look, maybe the fact that you're even asking about Chase kind of tells you, it kind of emphasizes his point. Because you're right. Who else is out there right now? And I think Chase would probably be fine. I think he could do it. I just don't know if I don't know if he wants to. He loves the limelight, the red light of television right now.
I can't believe we're talking about this. Please, let's stop talking about the idea that Chase Daniel could fix anything that's happening with the Dolphins.
He had 9 career touchdown passes.
It makes sense. He's a year younger than Flacco.
Thank you. I need to stop talking about this. This is full blooming insanity, what is happening around here after watching those 4 quarters of football.
Yeah, and it was bad on the Miami side. It was horrendous on the Tennessee side. I mean, you look at that Tennessee roster, and it on paper, Tennessee versus Miami, like I kind of thought Tennessee would come out of there with the win. Not the way it looked, though. When you see Will Levis go down, I was waiting for a Dolphins player to pick him up, because they wanted to face Will Levis. They didn't want to see Mason Rudolph, because Mason Rudolph has proved he's able to step in. Will Levis obviously is not the answer for the Tennessee Titans, despite the fact that their head coach said that they're going to stick with him. We'll see if they stick with that. But the fact that there is no answer right now, and I don't know, I wonder about Tua. I wonder if seeing his team is desperate in need.
No, don't throw him back out there. No.
Is he going to push himself?
No.
Because he knows that he's the stir that's the straw that stirs the drink.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. Got it, found it.
What is going on with Sirianni and Jalen Hurts? Are they going to work this out, or?
I don't know. Look, we everyone up to this point knows what's been going on there in the offseason and even after last year, as they fell off that cliff, losing those 10 games. They worked on that relationship in the offseason. That was something that was a priority of just finding ways to connect. They're two very different people. And Kellen Moore has been, from what I was told, a little bit of a gift because he has a really good way of connecting with Jaylen and he's in charge of this offense. But it just feels like the things that are important that a CEO should be doing, which is what Nick Sirianni is now, right? They had an option last year to move on from him. Howie Roseman decided to stick with him. Ownership decided to stick with him in hopes that he can oversee it because he's built some good things. Nick Sirianni is not a bad coach. It's just right now, this team looks like they're operating the way we all did during COVID. It was like, it's almost like they're all on remote. And they're not unified. And I think that's really where you're seeing the problems. They play their butts off in New Orleans, and they're not even able to use that as a way to find some momentum here. And they show up against Baker Mayfield and the Bucs, and they look like they had nothing, as if they hadn't played. I had a coach the other day text me. He's like, I'm going through a lot of this film this week, and this looks like the preseason. September looked like preseason football for a lot of teams.
When we get away from the gloom and look at the good stuff, what's better in the league right now than Jayden Daniels' instant impact and that incredible, so far, Washington offense?
This summer, Cliff Kingsbury came on Scoop City, and I asked one of those throwaway questions, and I know you guys have done them a million times, where you ask it because you just feel like you need to ask it. And I appreciated his answer. My question was, hey, you're not a head coach anymore. You're a play caller now. Like, what's that like for you? He's like, I love it. I don't want to do all of that. And so I do think that's been really important for Cliff's journey here is he can just focus on the offense. And we're seeing pretty extreme results with a super talented quarterback that a lot of people are now coming out of the woodwork saying, oh, we had him ranked #1 overall. And I know we've talked about it on the show before that I've had conversations in the offseason right before the draft where I did find people that had Jayden ahead of Caleb. It doesn't mean that they're both, that one's better than the other. Right now, one is better than the other. But I still have tons of confidence in Caleb. But in terms of Cliff, the fact that he's found the perfect match, and we're seeing aspects of what he did with Kyler Murray in this offense, and we're seeing them just do the simple things, guys, which is give the player stuff they're good at, right? Whew, not that hard. But it is, because we've seen so many organizations try to force a type of offense and a structure to a player when Washington's going, okay, this guy can process information at a ridiculously high level, and he's comfortable doing this, this, and this. Let's pull it from LSU. Let's mix it with some of the stuff Cliff can do well. And voila, look at what we have. We have the greatest story in Washington since Robert Griffin III's rookie year.
Dianna, the Chiefs have lost Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice, even though there's some ambiguity surrounding the knee injury, though it looks bad. Pacheco's out. That's a lot of explosive players that they're missing. What are their options via free agency and trade? Because I don't know too much about their cap situation. I know that they got some pretty big contracts on the books already.
Yeah, so they're definitely having conversations about making some moves before the trade deadline. We'll see if they'll actually do it. We've seen the last 2 years they made moves, right? We saw Kadarius Toney 2 years ago. Last year, Mecole Hardman returned from the Jets back to Kansas City. So they've been, we'll call it aggressive, right? And they went to the Super Bowl both years with making those trades and giving Patrick some help. But, over the summer when Mahomes and I were just reflecting on the success they had last year, he kept pointing to the defense being the reason why they won last year. And he's obviously right. And yet here we are again where they're 4-0 and it's the defense. And I remember him saying pretty emphatically that they know that they can't do it again. They can't have a three-peat just relying on the defense. The offense has to be better. It's also somebody that's the quarterback and takes pride in what they can be. So, look, I think they're going to do the work. I think the names you're hearing right now are all fair. I don't know if any of them are realistic at this moment, right? So you're hearing the Browns, Amari Cooper. The reason why that name comes up is because of
2 minutes for Chiefs talk.
I didn't do anything.
You whispered Spags in my ear. You're not allowed to talk. You whispered Spags in my ear. You're not allowed to talk Chiefs. I'm sorry, Dianna.
What are the names? What are the names that you're hearing linked to Kansas City? What are the possible solutions?
I wish I missed that whole thing. My computer jumboed all this down, so I missed whatever Stugotz just did to distract me. So the names that are being, we'll call it chatted about at this point, right? So I mentioned Amari Cooper because Amari Cooper's name came up during that Brandon Ayuk trade opportunity that the Browns were involved in with San Francisco, right? So Amari's contract also makes it really easy for him to move to Kansas City. I just don't know if Amari Cooper's the type of wide receiver right now that fits. I don't know if that answers anything. We're going to hear about Devontae Adams all the way up to the trade deadline. We just are. He can tell us a million times they're not doing it. We can hear from the building that they're not doing it. But I think it's something that we got to keep an eye on. And then there's some out of the box type ideas that people have had of, George Pickens in Pittsburgh. He could step right into this offense. And I'm sure Steve Spagnuolo would love it. And Stugotz would be psyched too. So what is it about Spags that Stu loves so much?
Just that he got
has
a
his
nickname.
phone number.
He's got a nickname that is Spags.
Yeah.
Dianna, I had an idea that I want to run by you that I was thinking about this weekend, and it's a result of Baker Mayfield kind of saying that he came in and that he was here to loosen things up and that people hated how serious Tom Brady was, and then Tom Brady came in and then got very defensive on the broadcast. I want all of the quarterbacks that Tom Brady is calling their games just to take little shots at him before the game and just make little comments to see how irritable we can get Tom Brady. Because he's proven everything to everyone, right? It shouldn't bother him what Baker Mayfield thinks about him, but for some reason it does. So I kind of want to see how far the current quarterbacks can push him with little comments.
Yeah. Here's the thing with that. Any person I've spoken to over the years or covered or, you run into at Super Bowl parties and you had that conversation of the New England way during those successful seasons. The answer Tom Brady gave is the answer you get from everyone in New England. It's like, you want to know what fun is? Disney's fun. And the thing is, I get it. They're right. That is fun. Winning is fun. But I think there's also examples of where, you may be winning, but that journey isn't a great ride either. It feels good at the end, but getting there is painful. And I think a lot of players like Baker Mayfield in their mind think that they can still accomplish this at a high level, but also make this enjoyable and not have it be so hard. But I like that Tom was willing to do that because the Brady we've seen on the broadcast just seemed a little too buttoned up for my taste. I actually think he's going to be really good. But I was pumped. I'm like, let's do this. Let's keep the petty going. More of it. I'm with you. I think every quarterback that we see for the next few weeks with Tom Brady, that quarterback should start the narrative during the week and have Tom give a rebuttal.
Have you done Disney with your kids yet?
No, I don't want to do it. I heard it's horrible.
It sucks. It sucks. The worst. Disney's fun, but at a young age, not the best.
Yeah, exhausting.
So I didn't know this, and my really good friend Jeff Darlington was there last year, and I sent him this long text because I'd seen the pictures from his wife's Instagram that they were there, and I was like, "Hey, I'm just having a moment right now, just watching you with the kids. I got to do a better job with mine. I got to." Experience more stuff. They're not doing enough. He wrote back, "This has been the worst week of my life. Whatever you think is fun here is horrible. Don't do Disney. Don't ever come here. I don't care how many free passes you can get. Don't come here." So it was such a great little lesson for me in the moment of, hey, don't just look at the pictures. But Billy, can you just help me understand what is it about Disney that people say is so hard with kids? To me, I just feel like the joy in my kid's face would take over and I wouldn't care so much about the other stuff. What is it?
Well, that's the thing, right? You're basically doing it just for the pictures the Darlingtons put up, right? So that when your kids are older, you can say, "See, we did love you. We did take you to Disney World." But while you're in it, did you like Disney going yourself ever or no?
So my parents waited until I was 11 to go. So I enjoyed it because I was a preteen. I understood. Is 11 preteen?
But did you ever do drinking around the world or anything like that?
Of course
you ever
it
go
is.
with your
Anything
friends?
before 13 is preteen.
Even 12?
I just felt like that was like very much like trying to sound like I was advanced or something. I wasn't. It took me like 15 years to get a bra anyway. Well, more like 20. But yeah, so I did Epcot with ESPN at the Pro Bowl. So it was a bunch of us, all of us covering Wendy Nix, the whole NFL Live crew, and they said, hey, you know, why don't we do beers around the world? We have an easy day tomorrow. This will be great. And I said, yeah, I obviously. So we're going to all the different countries. And after the second beer, I just start feeling off. And I'm like, maybe that German beer just didn't sit well with me. And so Wendy sees me and she's like, you look green. And I'm like, really? She's like, yeah, you don't look good. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm hot. It wasn't hot. We had jackets on. So I'm just trying to suck it up though, because I want to be with the team. You know, we're doing this experience. It's fun. I don't want to miss it. It's Florida. So somebody has this idea of, let's take a photo. Let's take a picture, a big group picture. And you know that feeling when you know it's about to come up and you just need to get at it. You just need to get out of the situation. So I had my arms around, I think it was probably like Ryan Clark. I don't even know who it was, like whoever was working that week. And I just felt it come up. So there is a photo somewhere out there on someone's phone of me vomiting during this ESPN team picture.
On Wendy Nix.
And here's the worst part about this. And this just goes to show you I FOMO really bad. I didn't want to go home. And I got a text from somebody in Taylor Lewan's camp at the time and was like, hey, we have a extra pass for Universal Studios. So at the Pro Bowl, the players and their families, the park shuts down for them. So they get to just go on the rides a million times without the public. So if you can get a ticket to do that's like a once in a lifetime experience for someone like me. So I'm like, I don't care if I just threw up. I'll rebound. I'll do this. So I get there and I see Taylor and Will Compton. And at the time they were with the Titans and I covered them all the time. So it was just like fun to be around them and their wives. And they're like, you want to go on the Hulk with us? No, I was like, yeah, let's do it. I love roller coasters. I threw up 20 minutes before that. Well, what do you think happened? I went up on the Hulk. As we do 2 loop-de-loops, all over Taylor Lewan, all over Will Compton, everywhere. And to this day, like as much as I've covered them and done interviews with them, and I like to think I've grown since that moment, that I am just the chick that puked on them.
Lucy, look at how disgusted. Lucy's about to throw up in her own hand because of what she just felt there.
Girl, that's your own fault. Why would you go on a roller coaster if you just threw up?
Right, that roller coaster. Yes.
I know. You think I would just be like, hey, I'll just hang, you know, and just go walk around with you guys, not actually get on. There was something in my head that night. I just remember thinking like, I can beat this. I can beat this stomach virus. I did not beat the stomach virus.
Dianna, send us that photo, please, so that we can, wherever that photo is of you green or you throwing up, please send it to us.
I got to tell you, it was one of the worst, like 24 hours. And I was just dating my husband at the time. And I remember calling him when I got back and I was on the bathroom floor and I'm like, I'm not going to make it. I meet another girl. Good luck.
She's the senior NFL insider for The Athletic. Gets so close to the games that she throws up on the players. I think that's a good slogan for Scoop City. Thank you, Dianna. Good seeing you.
Thanks, guys. Love you.